3, 2, 1.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us for another episode of the Tea Time Podcast.
Where you don't necessarily need some tea, but grab a drink and join us today with our guest, Julio PalmaaaaaaA.
I am number one heavyweight in Ukraine. Let's go.
Don't mess with them.
He's tough as nails. How tough are you?
I'm about as tough as a bear shitting on a tree.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. All right.
Well, what's up, Julio? How are you?
Doing pretty good. How you guys feeling?
Good. Good to see you again, man.
Yeah. It's
Welcome
been a while
to the
since I've
show.
seen you, man.
Yeah. It's like last summer. Oh my God. It's been
Oh,
so long.
Lord. That when you say last summer, it's been last summer for you, you know?
Yeah.
It's been a minute. Well, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for the invite.
I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
We're happy to have
appreciate
you.
it.
Yeah, of course.
Tell us a little bit about yourself so the audience knows. How old are you? Who are you? Where are you from, you
Where am
know?
I from? I got you. A little biography real quick.
A little
Got you.
biography.
So, my name is Julio. I'm 28, from Cicero, just outside Chicago. Bounced around a little bit as a little kid, and now my journey brought me here so far.
What do you do right now? Are you in school, out of school, working?
Well, right now I'm not in school, but I'm trying something new in the terms of, I guess I never embraced it the way I should have, but entrepreneurship and just kind of really just trying to blaze my own trail a little bit more.
Okay.
Even though I understand it's gonna take a lot of sacrifice, but I'm ready for it here. So.
No, that's awesome, man. The determination and energy is really important, and as long as you got that, like, you just gotta keep pushing, and something's gonna work eventually. So I wish you all the best. What?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what kind of entrepreneurship are you looking to do? Unless you don't want to divulge any business secrets so
Nah,
far.
business. See, I'm not that astute just yet, but essentially, just one of them, the main ones, is just for just philosophical, creative, artistic expression. Is I'm eventually gonna do my own clothing line.
Okay.
I already got the LLC for it. I got the vision for it. Now it's
Yeah.
just manifesting the work through it.
That's awesome, man. Already getting that LLC and now you're legit. Like.
Yeah, well, I just got to start putting stuff out now. See how it fits.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Any type of particular clothing or?
Well, my vision for it essentially is, so the reason why I called it this, I called it Rose and Emerald. That's the name of the clothing line.
Okay.
So Rose, because that's what I like to drink. I like pairing that with cigars, and then Emerald because that's my favorite color. But I wanted to, so when you hear it, hopefully it created like some sort of texture, or maybe like made you think about it a little bit, because I feel like you don't see those colors together often. And I feel like the way that I can do it, if I pair it with certain textures and fabrics, maybe like silky, it'll be, something I could do is just t-shirts, hoodies.
For sure.
Mixed with some of my philosophy.
Yeah, I think that'd be a cool color combo too, like rosé and emerald.
And have like gold accents.
Okay.
Definitely made me think to like soft and elegant. Not in like a bad soft, but like a, silk.
Yeah.
Smooth.
That's what I was going. That's what I was going for.
Smooth, suave. Just Oh, I dig that. Best of luck to you, man. Let me know when you start releasing products. I'll scoop up a t-shirt or something.
Yeah, that's what's up. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Could put you out there. Let our viewers see the business that we bring.
Yeah.
Support your local businesses, especially in the Chi.
Yeah.
Anything else you're doing, man?
Well, as far as right now, just to create, income and capital, just trying to learn how to do stocks, because my number one thing, just for me, I can't do a 9 to 5. It feels like a slow death. And I just can't do those for me as a man.
Yeah, I got you. Well, with your own business, you might end up working more than just the 40 hours a week, but at least you'll be working for yourself.
Exactly.
So.
Would you find that as a compromise, maybe? Having your own business and working more? Well, where do you see that 9 to 5 versus that, entrepreneur? What do you think the trade-offs are, benefits?
Easy. The number one, since it seemed like you guys were kind of alluding to it, is maybe it's just where I'm at. Maybe I'm a bit of a control freak. I hate waking up and making somebody else money. Like I don't really watch TV because I don't like watching other people get rich. You know what I mean? I don't like watching other people get rich when I could be a little bit closer, even if it's just a book or something else.
Yeah,
another hustle or something. I don't know. But like I said earlier, I'm already ready for it here mentally. I know I'm gonna have to sacrifice certain things I won't be able to do up front first, but you know, I'm ready for that and I'm willing to make the sacrifice. So we'll see. We just gotta see how it plays out if I make the right moves.
Yeah, for sure. Plus, I mean, if you do start your own business and you're doing what you love, people usually say that do what you love, you never work a day in your life because you're living out your passion. So I mean, it'd be fun to just like create all the time too, have that outlet and like you make money to do that, and if you enjoy it, it's just gonna be great.
Probably the same situation like how you guys have with this whole podcast and stuff like that, just doing what you love to do.
Yeah, kind of. I was thinking about it today, and like as I was editing one of the episodes, I was the time was flying by, and then I looked, it was like 3:45. I'm like, damn, like the guys are supposed to be here soon, like I gotta get ready, like I thought about it, I'm like, I spent so much time doing this, but I'm not even mad about it because I'm having fun. I'm doing something that I enjoy, both of us enjoy. It's a means to a creative outlet, so yeah, absolutely.
The work feels worth it, right, so far.
Yeah, exactly. And even if this doesn't blow up, like we still had our fun. We did something, and I think Amadeo at the beginning of when we were first starting the podcast, I was sort of uneasy about it, hesitant. I didn't see the vision and like where this was going, and maybe I was trying to be too much of a control freak and like perfectionist. And then Amadeo told me, he's like, don't do something and then 10 years down the road you look back and you regret not doing it. Right. I was like, yeah, you're right. Like I got nothing to lose to do this podcast, and it's something that has interested us for a couple of years, and we finally got around to it. So I was like, why not give it a shot? Go through with it. So
why tea time and not whiskey time?
Whiskey would definitely allude to like alcohol and other paraphernalia. Definitely not the message we're trying to come across.
Okay. Yeah. No, I was just curious, because it could have been anything type of time,
It could have.
At one point, it was shower thoughts. It was shower thoughts at one point.
Could have had a whole theme.
Yeah.
We could have. I thought that would have been a little too cliche, and it's there's like a ton of you'll have an Instagram account or a Twitter account, or there's Reddit accounts and Facebook groups that are all shower thoughts, and so it's too much of like a.
It's already been done.
Yeah, in my eyes, it's too much of like a branded term, and I didn't want to just like be another one of those things. It's like, oh, we're another shower thoughts, whatever, right? Like outlet. I think tea time. Both of us enjoy tea, even though we like never have it on the show.
Yeah, that's true.
But also, like when you talk with people and you're gossiping or just chatting, like you spill the tea or you talk about the tea.
But this episode ain't about us, Julio.
I'm interviewing the interviewees.
Yes.
Yeah. You're flipping the tables when we didn't even expect it.
Well, thanks for the questions. So you're a fighter.
Right.
What kind of fighting do you do?
Well, right now, debating on transitioning just to pure boxing. Okay. But it's been MMA and kickboxing primarily for the past 5 years or so.
For sure.
Yeah.
What kind of martial arts do you know? I
actually can't say I've studied any particular martial arts. Mm-hmm. I've just gone into MMA directly and worked on whatever I needed to work on from the jump. I guess you could say maybe jiu-jitsu I've rolled a bit, but as far as direct study, I just kind of went straight to MMA. So.
Okay. And you said you've been doing it 5 years?
About 5 years.
For sure. And you also said you've been like competing and stuff?
Yeah, I've actually competed and working towards being pro and seeing what I can do to try to leave my mark on the fight game, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. Plus, if you get big and release that clothing line, you'll have all that clout to like help push your product and stuff too. So
yeah, you know what, that just kind of clicked the other day. They were almost like two separate things I was doing, but I just figured everything can kind of be one if I push it together, right? You know,
Yeah.
One can bleed on the other, if anything.
yeah.
Would you want to create? Would you want to create like?
Would you want your clothes to be styled for fighting, kind of, or just totally just like casual streetwear?
Well, I like a clean silhouette. Maybe like the hoodies that we released would be a little bit more towards like, it'd be like my favorite fight and military strategist, fight philosophy, and certain techniques and people's with quotes on them. That's what I would do.
Okay.
But as far as my general outline for that, probably just more casual. I like a clean silhouette and very textile.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's cool. How'd you get into fighting?
To be honest with you, I think it's something I've kind of always done if I really sit back and think about it, which I did recently actually up until this past year during quarantine. I was sitting there, I was like, I really asked myself, why am I fighting, or when did I start fighting?
Yeah.
And I think a good amount of it is just in my DNA. I think I could have grew up somewhere else and still been a fighter. I think a lot of it is that, because I grew up mimicking, you know, when you watch it when you're a kid, I was always mimicking the Power Rangers, like Jackie Chan movies and stuff like that.
Dragon Ball Z. It came around at the perfect time, really.
Yeah. I didn't mimic anything else, really, you know. So it just stuck with me, and then I also grew up a bit street fighting, and then eventually I actually didn't start training until I was like 22, 23, somewhere around that time. So yeah, it was interesting how it just kind of all came together. I was kind of just walking the path and realizing I didn't realize I was even going down that path.
Yeah.
It's just being me.
Yeah, I got to see one of your fights one time.
Yeah.
Actually?
Yeah.
How was it?
It was good.
It was good, but it was one of those ones I lost.
Okay.
Yeah. I did not win. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Next time.
It's a blow to the ego at first, and you gotta learn to
Let it go.
let it go.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine that if you like reflect on it and stuff, it just makes you a stronger fighter. You know, like there's that Chinese proverb, fall 7 times, get up 8. You know, you just gotta keep pushing and persevering. I can imagine that sucks though, like just being there and like, damn dude, I lost.
So,
Yeah, definitely. You like go there, you're like, I'm a loser, I can't fight him, I suck. Yeah, all the thing goes through your head, and then some of it too is like, well, I did do this well, and it's a really, really big, like, a lot of it manifests physically, but it's all up here.
did you ever have a loss that stuck with you, and maybe a win that stuck with you, like throughout your whole career so far?
Yeah, so far, both of them being the MMA fights, and my most recent one, which was the one that he saw, because I kind of went on a different world when I haven't fought in about a year and a half, 2 years now at this point. I'm gonna get back in there. I was just deviated was doing other things.
Yeah.
But yeah, the biggest loss was the one that he went to. He saw me lose, because I had lost by like a submission or something like that before, but I had lost by TKO, which isn't something that played well to my ego, because at least I had told myself I'm a pretty solid striker, but you know, I got caught. What can I say? It was a good go on his part. You know, I don't make excuses. A W is a W and an L is an L. But yeah, that one, it was that one. That was one of the biggest losses I carried with me. But it taught me that I had to go back and rebuild the foundation, take more time with the basics. I had kind of rushed everything. And then as far as my biggest win, I was out there when I was in St. Louis, or just outside St. Louis. This was about 3 years ago, so 1 year before that fight. So that was interesting. I kind of got a funny story, at least a little bit. So one of the best parts of fighting is the traveling. So sometimes you get to travel with your buddies, and sometimes you don't. It kind of all plays out. Depends on who's on card. So I have a good friend of mine. His name is Mike. He's on the card with me too. So we're traveling. We're cutting weight. We're a little irritable because we have about 6 hours to weigh in, but then we gotta wait overnight and stuff like that. So we eventually get in. We pull up to this hotel. Now it's about 11, maybe midnight-ish, somewhere in that time frame. I'm sleepy and I'm irritated, and I'm also cutting weight. He is too. So we're in the middle of nowhere, right? So we're like, you know what? We're gonna go to this Motel 8. They said they reserved it for us. We got there, whatever. Tell them we're the fighters. So we walk up to the main front doors. We knock. We're like, you know, we give it a few seconds. We're looking around. We see a bunch of trucks. We see people. We're like, okay, where's the main lady? All right, so we start to get. It starts to be like 2-3 minutes later, and the first thing that comes out of her mouth, which was hilarious. So she has one of those smokers' voice. She's like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. So she walks in there, and one of the first things she has, she says, I had to stop a guy from masturbating in the hallway. And we're like, yo, where are we right now? That we had to do this. And we're just like, ma'am, we don't care. He just gave us the room key. The room key. She's like, room key, who are you guys? They're like, oh, we're the fighters. We're fighting in this car. She's like, and then once she heard that we're the fighters, she was like, oh, you guys are the fighters, huh? She's like, maybe I'll warm you guys up later. Hey! And we were like, oh my, but you gotta imagine like the most raspy smoker's voice.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do this for you guys later. I don't know. And that was just one of the interesting things, man, because sometimes the stories on those travels are just as, you carry with you just as much as the fights. Mm-hmm. The one that I carried with me the most was actually my first championship belt. Mm-hmm. And I was originally supposed to be, I wasn't just fighting, but it wasn't for a belt. So they said last second, they're like, hey, you're fighting the main event, 145, you're going for a belt. And I'm like, okay, whatever, I'm in it, let's go. So I get to warming up, and I warmed up different for the first time. Normally I'll sit there, kind of ruminate, and I realized I was overthinking. And I just sat there and I started just breathing. All I did was focus on the breathing. I just did some light warm-ups, setting my mind to the task, kind of like that. Just like, I've seen like tribal warriors doing that before they do the thing. They just, and I did that, and it had calmed me down. And by the time it came, I wasn't really nervous. It was good butterflies. It wasn't like, sometimes you're still thinking about, oh man, I gotta fight, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. No, it's like, it was the body just preparing for action. Yeah. It was still waters. Nothing outside of action. Wasn't doing more than I needed to do, and less than what needed to be done. Yeah. It was like perfect stillness. And I go in there, right? So I'm jabbing. The guy's pretty tall. He's about 6'3", so he's got good reach over me. So I got to make sure I bobble over, move my head, and I threw a big left hand, but I stepped through with it. So when I stepped through with it, I had positioned myself perfectly straight down the line for his right hand. Mm-hmm. So he caught me standing still, which is perfect. So I had been rocked, and he was trying to ground and pound, but I moved, I scrambled, and while he was doing that, because I was still a little groggy, I ended up in the triangle. So for the first round, within, I say about no less than 30 seconds of rocked in a triangle. And then at that point, I was still, even though the triangle was tight, I was still listening to my corner, and I was still focused. It didn't knock me off my square though. Remember I told you I had that stillness? Mm-hmm. I was still there. And I just focused on breathing through the whole time, brought it to my corner, and I eventually got out right at the end of the round. He tried going front armbar, I escaped that too. So right then and there, you know, I could have been thinking, oh man, this and that. I was like, no, that was like the hardest part of the fight already. I'm in the action. So then from there on out, I picked apart his leg, came into the next round. I was able to jab him, touch him a little bit more. We wrestled, and I ended up winning the belt.
Dang.
So that was probably one of my greatest overcomings of adversity. Yeah. Just being able to face it and sit still in the chaos.
Mm. Kind of mesmerizing hearing that. Like it was just so visual, and like I was there with it, you know. And it's kind of like hearing that too, because when we think about like physical altercations, right? It's not something that people necessarily wish for themselves, right? Like you don't want to go into the street and just like get in fights all the time, right? Like then you get into that fight or flight mode and instinct, and I feel like human nature is to avoid that to begin with, right? Because it's
fair.
It's like by instinct you don't want to be in harm's way, you don't want to get hurt, you want to protect your body. And so I always wonder, like, I'm gonna ask a question, but I want to continue my train of thought really quick. Do fighters before fighting, like, do they get nervous and like scared? Because going back to what I was saying, I'd be like, damn, look, I feel like I wouldn't be able to be a fighter because I'd be like, bro, I'm about to get my ass beat all the time, and I don't want that, you know, like I don't want to physically get hurt. And hearing that you like overcame that and were like preparing yourself for it because you like put yourself in that position on purpose because you want to fight, I feel like that's just kind of inspirational and really cool that you were able to find a way to control your emotions and what you were feeling and like the whole situation to the point where you put yourself in a winning position. You know, like you're going into the ring and you're like, I got this, you know, like it's cool, whatever happens, like I'm gonna figure it out, get around it, and like make the most of it and do what I came here to do, which is to win. So I guess going back to the question, do you get nervous before fights? Do you get kind of like scared? Do other fighters do?
You go through, I mean, I can generalize, but then I gotta specify with me because yes, there's a general like primal thing where the body knows I'm about to fight, you know, you can't, I mean, if somebody says that they don't feel absolutely anything, it's either, you know, they're, I guess they're crazy with it or it's somehow like a comfort zone.
Or they're just lying to themselves.
Or lying to
Or they
themselves.
could be from,
Yeah, so something like that. But as far as, I feel like you go through a full range of thought and emotion because, you know, part of the mind is just, it's always calculating at times. It's like, oh, this could happen. All right, what about this? What about that? And then you imagine like, oh man, what if I lose bad? But then you also imagine, what if I win victoriously, or like it was a great bloody battle or something like that. So as far as what most fighters do, I feel like we all go through that full range, especially when they tell you like, all right, 5 minutes, Julio, you're walking out, let's go, on deck. You know, they go back there, let you know, and then that's when your coach is like, okay, remember, stick to the game plan, because right then and there your mind can go off. You know, you can really deviate. And depending on your level of self-belief, you either start to imagine yourself winning or maybe even losing. So that really depends, but you definitely go through a full range of thought and emotion, and it's, can you focus on just what needs to get done?
I got you. You used to wrestle too. Did you go through something similar too?
Yeah, definitely.
Before meets?
Yeah, 100%. Especially because you always started, like the meets started at different weights most times. So, you know, you would go in order from the beginning of the weight that you started. But then, you know, at least 5 minutes before, like, I mean, like Julio said, that's when the gravity of the situation kind of starts getting on you. And it's either you come to that in between the, you know, chaos and like fear and come to the calm, or you like teeter towards the fear or the chaos more, you know. I mean, I think my thought process at one point was like, calm down, you know, close your eyes, calm down. Are you scared? Maybe. Yeah, you are. But then you have to come, you know, that belief in yourself, you know, you have to understand what you're capable of. And then I think something that comforted me in that moment more times than not is that everybody feels the same way right before going out there. Like right before going out there. Most times, you know. Like Julio said, you know, you get those people that are low-key crazy and they'll be like, what's up? We're ready to fight, you know?
Yeah.
But most people are, you know, just as nervous. You got to remember your skills and your moves. End of the day, you know, I wrestled. It was, for me, it was more of a flow of tactics and moves. I feel like it's different with fighting because I never did fighting. You know? I never fought. It's more, you know, you see a move and you do it, but like there's inches to everything. You know, you see a small inch, he's like closer to you, and you can like grip somebody, move their momentum, and then flow through. You know, it was always just like a flow. Wrestling was like a flow. If you, that's where I had to get to actually be calm and collected in the actual match. or I imagine myself losing, and most times you imagine yourself losing, you're going to lose. Like, you got to be imaginative of where you're going to be. Did you ever wrestle too?
No, that's arguably, I guess you could say, one of my bigger athletic regrets. I actually didn't. I ran track instead. Yeah.
Well, at least you got the footwork.
Yeah, definitely footwork. Yeah.
How do you think transitioning from, like, you know, MMA to like just solely boxing is going to be?
I'm doing it mostly because I need to go back and fix the fundamentals of my boxing. So I'm just gonna take time out and make sure that's as steady as it can get. Like even if I have to train with people who've been doing it less time than I have, I'm just trying to get rid of the ego, get the actual skill set so I could go forward and do something bigger and greater and give myself the opportunity to succeed.
Yeah. No, it's pretty cool.
I mean, how many fights have you done in total, like, altogether so far?
In total, MMA 8, kickboxing 3. I haven't gotten in there as much as I should have, but I'm gonna make up for that.
Yeah.
I'll make up for the lost time.
You know, I don't even think it's lost time at the end of the day. You know, you want to achieve the skills you want to achieve, but, you know, like, there's people, MMA, boxing, that, like, come out when they're 28, 29, 30, you know? I don't feel like it's lost time. I think you just matured and you have that mentality now that maybe somebody that might be more skilled or, like, talented is not going to have, and, you know, determination and skill, you know?
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I'm just trying to hit that level where the work and the vision become that reality. Which is really what it is. I gotta go back and do that for a little bit.
Yeah.
Plus, I can't fight forever, you know. So there's gonna come a day where I can't take a punch no more. And I want to be able to look back and say, I did it, you know, and let it go all out so that it falls however it falls. I end up great somewhere in between. So it's not gonna be no punching bag, but shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just going for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you enjoy fighting? You like it?
I can say, yeah, I enjoy it. Yeah, definitely.
Has fighting helped you change anything about your life?
Oh yeah, definitely. Handling conflict and patience, and just understanding that not everything's gonna go my way. You know, it could be very humbling.
What was the moment when you learned that, when you came to, like, that realization that things aren't gonna go your way all the way, like, that things aren't always gonna go your way?
Yeah.
And that, like, that patience too.
The patience rather recently, actually, but the knowing of that not everything's gonna go my way would be my first loss.
Okay.
You know, it's like, shit.
Yeah.
I thought I was, you know, thinking the complete opposite, but my skills didn't match the understanding at the time or the reality just yet.
Okay. Changing gears a little bit. I always wondered why people find fighting entertaining, and, like, why there's so much pay-per-view and people just go crazy for UFC fights or boxing. Because at the end of the day, it's one person trying to hurt another, right? Like, it's not because you want to cause harm, but that's essentially what you're doing, right?
Right.
Like, you don't wish the other person, like, ill will, but, like, you're there to fight, you know? And why do you, I guess, being a fighter, why do you think that is?
I think it's really simple. It's just something primal. That's really all it is. I think it's just something primal. People like watching conflict. I mean, if you'll stop and watch two people argue, you know, there's something understanding in, like, the body language. There's just, like, conflict is something primal. And I think people just like to see it.
Everybody likes to watch drama. Everybody likes a little bit of drama.
Yeah, I can see that. Especially with, like, all the different instant karma videos and stuff you see on YouTube. And
People getting their ass knocked out or something
Yeah.
shortly after they bully somebody. So would you describe yourself as a tough guy?
Nah.
No?
Nah.
No?
Do you think of yourself?
You're so tough.
I'm not at all. I'm not at all.
Do you think you're an aggressive individual? Has fighting made you more aggressive, or has fighting made you less aggressive?
Like
Fighting has definitely made me less aggressive.
Okay.
Yeah, if I have to speak in general, yeah, it's definitely made me less aggressive.
And why is that, do you think?
Well, for one, I'm a very physically oriented person. Meaning, you know, how some people, they can, I guess you could say, write out their stresses and cool or talk it out. That's cool, but I need to I'll need to go for a run or lift, or maybe even I need something physical to get it out. Even if I'm just working a bag, it doesn't even mean I gotta inflict pain on somebody. It's just a manifest. It's just getting that energy out.
Yeah, that's just how. Yeah, that's how you deal with that energy.
Yeah, that's part of it for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because I feel like being a fighter, you have to, and this, I'm kind of painting all fighters with a broad stroke when I say this, but I feel like you have to have this mentality that, you know, all right, I'm going to go into the ring and like I got to deliver good punches. I really got to get this guy in the right way and just knock him out, like take him out. I got to win. And I can imagine that there's, you know, strategies to like conditioning where, you know, fighters might condition themselves, or coaches might condition the fighters to just inherently be more aggressive in certain situations. And I guess part of me wants to think that way because, you know, between like a big boxing match and there's like that panel, you got the two fighters getting interviewed by everyone, and then they always like stand face to face and they just try to be the tough guy, and like sometimes they even start fighting right then and there. And I always wonder, like, why can't you guys just like talk? You know, why does it always have to be beef? Unless it goes back to like the entertainment thing and the primal thing where people just want to see drama, which just kind of makes me question all of it a little bit. But for me, it's just kind of interesting. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I think at the end of the day, it's entertainment. One, and two, if you're fighting, you're already more primal than the next person that's not fighting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know. How would you think you would react in a fight? Would you think you would back down, or you would think you would be like ready to fight too, you know?
Physically, I'm not built, I'm not like crazy strong like you, for example, right? I don't lift, I don't go to the gym. And so I feel like I have better speed and quicker reflexes. So I wouldn't just try to, I recognize that. And so like if I were to find myself in a fight, very quickly I'd be able to know like, okay, which of the two of us is stronger? And then I would argue that usually it'd be the other person that would be stronger than I am.
Okay.
And then and so my next thought would be like, okay, what can I do to overcome this imbalance, right? And I know I wouldn't be able to just use brute force because the other person would take me over, right? So I'd have to use some other strategies or tactics, like knock him over, or like put him in a hold, or like maybe, get like a good punch in somewhere, but it'd be more of like, okay, let me use my surroundings, or like what can I grab, what can I do, how can I dodge attacks and stuff. It'd be more of a defensive strategy versus like an offensive.
Okay.
And that's how I would take it. And then if I can get away from a fight, then like why not? Like what's the point? I wouldn't prove anything. Yeah, I wouldn't prove anything by knocking the other. If this was a street fight, right? Like at a bar, I would just try to avoid it altogether if I could like run or get away. Because what do I have to prove by beating the other guy? And if people are like, oh, you're a pussy for running, I'm like, okay, fine, you go ahead. Next time there's a fight, you go ahead and get your ass beat.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'd be like, what's the point? You know. So
kind of going back to what you were saying, when I wrestled, even now when I work out too, like when I have like some physical like motion or engagement, I always feel less stress in general, you know. I don't think wrestling made me more aggressive. Only when I was practicing with certain people did I get more aggressive, because
Was it like a personal vendetta?
some of them. I remember there was a couple people that always try to like, you know, call me out. They'd be like, I want you today, and I'm like, okay, bet. But then like they would get all aggressive, and I was like, we're practicing. And
They had something to prove. They were on that tough guy shit.
yeah, and I was like, why? And then like they would cross-face me like real hard, and I'd be like, okay, like you want to play like that, we can play like that, you know. That's when I would get.
They're getting real chippy.
Yeah.
Little things that's like, you little fucker.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd be like, listen, that's not gonna fly. We're gonna take you over.
So essentially, I mean, I feel like it's because it's ingrained in. I'm gonna go out on a leap here and say it's ingrained in human nature for a proclivity for violence, and obviously that mastery of knowing when to use it and how to use it are like arguably, I think we'd all like to master. At least I'd like to master that in myself, and that can manifest through the combat. You know, like through MMA, boxing, kickboxing in of itself. Because for me, I don't take matches in the ring or anything like that personal or that super serious. I do and I don't, in the sense that yes, I could get hurt, and yes, nobody trains to lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Nobody trains to lose, but street fights I treat completely different, because you know, if I get knocked out in the ring, all right, whatever, the ref is there, my coach, my corner, all right, hey, good job, you got me, whatever. But out there, outside, you don't have nobody to stop you, or you have nobody to stop it. So I think they're almost like, they're the same, I don't know, they're like same, they're different. So it's just real interesting on how, like, for, yes, a street fight, because I've been in a good amount of them, none of them, now that I think back, maybe only like one or two were actually something substantial. It's like, all right, yeah, do it. The other ones were just, I didn't, it was over nothing, really. It just wasn't in tune. You know, when you get angry, that means you're angry over something that's probably something small or something egotistical.
And you can't handle your emotions, and you let them get the best of you, and you get angry and you just like start beating everybody or whatever, and almost. But
oftentimes the person that you're coming in that conflict with is the exact same fucking person. You guys are doing the exact same thing.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting to hear that it's made you less aggressive by doing something very aggressive.
Well, yeah, because it's your intent. Like when I'm sparring, sometimes we have hard sparring days. You know, I'm not gonna say I've mastered it. There's sometimes where I end up going maybe sometimes a little too hard. But for the most part, if I see that my partner gets hurt, or I see he's racked or something like that, you let up. You're not there to like beat him down. That's a completely different mindset.
Yeah. I feel like by being in the fighting world, you have a different understanding of what fighting is.
Definitely.
And yeah, you don't see it as like, you know, you're there to inflict pain. Like that's not your goal. Your goal is just to win. And especially in MMA, like if you just put someone in a hold, like an armbar. Yeah. Well, I mean, you have the potential to do a lot of harm.
Just snap into it if you want. If you really, it's the equivalent in a way.
Yeah.
But I know what you're getting at. I think that's why you said you like MMA a little better than boxing, cause.
Yeah, I don't watch any fighting, but I think when it does come to MMA, like there's just more strategy and thought involved, and like there's different tactics. You know, like in boxing, all you can do is just punch, right? But in MMA, you can like hold, like it's mixed martial arts. There's like a mix of things, you know, like you use different styles, and kickboxing or jiu-jitsu, and like arm bars and holds and wrestling. So you don't have to inflict, like in boxing, I'd argue you almost have to inflict pain to win, but in MMA you don't have to, because you can take someone down and pin them down, and you're not hurting them, but you're just immobilizing them in a way that they can't get back at you. Hold them down for long enough, and then you win, you know. I don't mean to like generalize, and correct me if that's kind of a wrong approach, but
I get what you're saying, and I think this is the irony of kind of the statement is like how I said before, it manifests physically, but it's actually like 90% to 95% mental. The body's just trained to do what the mind's been programmed to think, essentially. So I think what you're missing actually when you see boxing is, yes, there are some styles, and they call it the moving forward style, like the coming forward style, where they often get hit a lot. But a lot of times people don't understand is the angles of attack. So yes, somebody could be standing right in front of you, but you can hit them at like a 45 at an angle they don't see. You can hit them straight on. You can hit them at another level. The deepest aspect of the game is positioning and angles of attack, and that's probably throughout all of combat. Because yes, I can hit you, but who says I have to get hit back? You know, there's so many ways to go about it.
Right.
Yeah, if you can't see past it, yes, it manifests physically, like I said. So you see a guy who got knocked out or something like that. The real question is, was it a better setup on the guy who knocked him out, or did the guy see it coming and just didn't move? Because a lot of this, like I said, is position. If you catch somebody stepping, then when you throw, they step. You can't stop your momentum like that.
Yeah. So you'd say like there's still strategy involved.
There's always a bit of strategy.
For sure.
Even if the strategy is to destroy, that's still a strategy. It's just how well is it implemented.
Yeah.
You could also destroy yourself.
True.
And that happens to a lot of brawlers, a lot of tough guys.
Yeah. Probably because of the ego. Just gets to them. They're like full out and.
Yeah, I was like that before when I was younger, so I've paid some of those prices before.
Same though. Same. Drunkenly though. Drunken ego moments.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there anything else you want to add to it? Add to your story?
To my story, I'm just simple. I'm just at peace. I'm me. And then let's just see what I can do with whatever amount of time I got left on this earth. So,
Do you meditate at all?
I guess more like moving meditation. I find that these flow states when I jog. I don't sitting still. I can kind of sit still, but
Yeah.
I get my best flow states, if you will, on the move or just working a bag, just not worrying about the power. Just
Because I get the sense that, like, I get this feeling and sense that you're just a very, like, centered person, you know, like, your head's on right and, like, your body's in the right place. And it seems like you kind of have a vision, you know where you're going, like, you have a path that you're on and you're not, like, really straying from it. You're just like, yo, I'm Julio, this is what I'm about. And you're just, like, with it, you know?
that's pretty much it. I made reconcile the piece or like the difference between the two. Now for me, I was able to do that through reading, and then also through the lessons I've learned in fighting and training in and of itself. So I mean, it's helped transform me, but
Yeah.
maybe that's just because I'm like of the warrior energy, you know, those archetypes I think you guys were talking about last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
I had a question for you though. I mean, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that's inspirational. Like I think if everyone was able to like do the same thing, kind of just like figure out themselves and what they wanted to do, and just like be honest with themselves,
Yeah.
then it would lead to a lot more positivity in the world and like more productivity. People will get a lot more things accomplished, and it's cool that you are already at that level. That's just like, I know who I am, I know what I'm about, I know what I'm capable, what I'm not capable of. Like you're at this point of, I feel like, self-understanding, self-awareness, where like you don't kid yourself and you're just like, all right, I want to do this, but like I get that sense of humbleness too, you know. And even before the episode we started, like you were telling me about a couple things you're doing in your life and how you just learned from your mistakes and you grew on them. And you see them as an opportunity for learning instead of a point of regret and anger and like frustrations on the past. You don't dwell on it, you grow from it. So yeah, that's all I wanted to add.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely comes from like, it's not morbidity, it's more from like I guess you could say like a samurai, or maybe like a philosophical standpoint. Is I think about my death, and I don't think about it like all email, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not like that. It's more like, all right, when it's all said and done, should I even get the chance to lay on a deathbed? What have I done?
Yeah. You don't want to die without having lived.
Yeah, well, not even, well, lived, yeah, and then giving something back. I carry these, so I got them in the car. I laminated these things that I read every day to myself, and it's just to keep life and death in perspective. But I wrote them to myself as an old man.
Yeah.
And it was with coming from all 4 archetypes as well. So, the last part is, I did something and I gave something to the next generation, whether it be money, assets, or a mindset.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's cool. It's very selfless approach. It's interesting because we had an episode where we were talking about like the human condition.
Yeah.
And how we argue that people aren't selfish to be mean, but they always prioritize themselves, and it's sometimes hard, especially depending on the culture you grow up in, hard to think about others and kind of just like giving back. But it's really humbling and just cool to hear that you do have that mentality that there's things bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
And it's important to not be blind to them and to acknowledge them. So I respect that, man.
Thank you.
The only thing that I was gonna ask you is, you've been to what are those called, cryo tanks before?
Yeah.
How was that for you?
The sleep deprivation tank?
Not the sleep deprivation.
Or
The
sensory deprivation.
You're like, oh god.
I gotta stay away.
Just floating. Oh yeah, man. I've definitely been to those. I like those. I like alternate forms of going deeper into yourself rather than some alcohol or psychedelics. I like, you got to push that boundary of why do you feel like sometimes you need that to go that deep. You really don't. But yeah, those float tanks I really recommend. That definitely helped me out with at the time when I was doing them, the control issues I had, and I was just like I didn't even sit in there because I wasn't floating under my accord. You know what I mean? I wasn't even floating. I was like, nah, I don't know. I decided when I float.
Damn, you're in there.
Yeah, dude. I was like, arguing with myself, like, you better do it. Right? And I was like, you know what? Fucking relax, asshole. I was like, fucking relax, asshole. And I was just like, alright. I'm like, this isn't so bad. So yeah, that helped me out with that. I like those. And I like trying to, I recommend it to everybody. I try the Wim Hof method, but I realized what he was getting at is just, I like the cold exposure.
Okay.
So that's really what it is. It's like, can you focus while you're in the cold, or can you relax while you're in the cold? Because that's when it's almost like the fight or flight text tries to take over. Same thing, like kind of like fighting. So I kind of knew what he was getting at. I just didn't do it the way he did it. But yeah, it's definitely, I really enjoy those methods. I'd recommend you guys try those.
I mentioned Tom Amadeo, like I've been wanting to go to one, and then he's like, oh yeah, my cousin Julio, he's gone to a couple, so maybe we can all like go or something and get separate float tanks, but float around together.
Should definitely go. That'd be quite an experience, just because the thought of just like sitting there with yourself, that's a little, not terrifying, but like that's, you sit there with yourself, and
you can only do that if you're at peace.
It's
really, if you got anything going on, it's like
like it could like
get that little uneasiness.
Especially if it's dark and quiet and like I mean, all your sensory deprivation, like if all your senses are gone, like you don't feel anything physically, I feel like it can be a total surreal experience.
Yeah, it can be. For some people, the time always goes real fast or goes real slow. I mean, it's kind of in between. It's like, and I'm like, and I'm like, alright. I'm like, oh, okay, Just,
Did you fall asleep in there at all, or were you just?
No, because of like the water, I like the relaxation feeling. So I'll kind of like push myself from corner to corner in the float tank. So I'll kind of just be
floating
push myself one way, push myself the other way.
Okay. Dude, this just sounds like so much fun.
And I'll deliberately just try to forget wherever the door is, so you completely envelop yourself. Yeah. Because for me, I was hanging on to like maybe the door is right here, and that little thought was like keeping me safe. Yeah. I was like, fuck the door. I'm here.
Just enjoy it. Yeah. Plus, I mean, nothing bad's gonna happen to you. Like you're in a facility and saying, yeah, exactly.
I used to like to try like every other Sunday or something like that. I would go and like just try something else. I'd be like, oh, let me go try acupuncture, and then I would go try the cups, and then I would go get a massage, and I'd go to like an Indian sweat lodge or something like that. I just every other day or every other week or so, I would just go try something else that would push me further into myself in just different ways.
Yeah. Wow.
And healing, because I had some injuries.
Yeah. That sounds like, I didn't even know things like that exist, but now it's something I definitely want to get into. It just sounds so cool. Like, yeah, getting into yourself and like understanding yourself, coming at peace.
I feel like that would also just bring out something if you didn't even acknowledge that you had something like, you know, bothering you. Yeah. You know. But you got anything else to ask our fighter here?
No, I think we covered it pretty well.
Well, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, no, it's been a pleasure.
Anything else you want to say? One last time?
One last time, some quick words. I guess if I'm gonna speak in general, fighting's a little, I guess you could say, generalized. It's a lot deeper than what it seems. Yes, it manifests physically, but it's all coming from the spirit, the mind, the emotional. It takes your whole being to fight.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Take these words, implement them in your life.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. See you next week.
Peace out.
Peace.
Bang!
イタチ、最後に約束しろ。
分かってるわ。
Tis time for the tea.
Why is it that when you press record, you always become a different person?
Why is it that you don't? This is the persona that I take before the show. This is pre-game Amadeo. Pre-game.
Where's Mickey?
Mickey's not here today.